Welcome to the 2020 Bloomsbury Festival New Wave Lunchtime Concert Series, recorded live here at the Music Room, number 49, Great Ormond Street. Number 49 has a fascinating history. Click the link below in the description to see a short clip from owner Alec Forshaw if you'd like to know more about this Bloomsbury gem. My name is John Paul Muir and I'm the Senior Program Manager at the festival. We're really proud to be supporting emerging artists through our New Wave program. And in 2020, we have 5 lunchtime concerts in this series, all of them featuring incredibly talented young performers. Today's recital features lutenist Sergio Bucheli, who will perform a beautiful program on not 1 or 2, but 3 different instruments. Here is Sergio to introduce them and the program that he will perform.
Thank you very much for listening. I will start my program with 2 pieces for French Baroque lute, 11 course lute. It is La Psyche by Jacques de Gallot and a Sarabande by Dubout. These 2 pieces are very characteristic of the French, Middle French Baroque style, which is very graceful, extremely elegant, and it is characterized for all of its ornaments in my left hand and this very melodious and quite calm atmosphere that it creates. So now I will move on to some earlier music. This will be a little set comprising 3 pieces from the Spanish Renaissance. The first one is Fantasia, which is simply a polyphonic sort of improvisatory piece. These were very commonly associated with choral pieces from the time, vocal polyphony. So this is music that has very independent melodic lines that recur, and the composer, in this case Fuenllana, makes use of these recurring themes and improvises a little bit around them. The second piece will be a really lovely small folk song called Morenica, Dame un beso. This folk song is probably from a Sephardic origin, and it made it to Spain, and then Fuenllana made an arrangement for this instrument. And I will finally play Mille Regrets by Josquin de Prez, who was a Franco-Flemish composer, but he operated a lot in Spain. And this is another arrangement for the lute, done by Luys de Narváez, and in his book, the Mille Regrets is nicknamed Canción del Emperador, which means the Song of the Emperor, as it was Charles V of Spain's favorite song. The next set of pieces comes from three different Celtic lute books: the Rhuvalan lute book, the Straloch lute book, and the Jane Pickering book. These tunes are all folk tunes, which is a contrast to a lot of the previous music I was playing, as well as most lute music, as it is all very chord heavy usually. And this is one of the rare instances where we lute players get some proper folk music to play. The Jane Pickering lute book is really interesting one because it belonged to a lute player, an amateur lute player called Jane Pickering, and she collected a lot of very different types of lute music. So there's anything ranging from the sort of mainstream repertoire, such as Dowland, to these little things that she used to call toys, or simply a Scots tune, which are all these tiny little tunes there. Some of them are no more than 6 bars long, but it presents a interesting small compendium of folk music. I will speak a little bit about the instrument. This is a small Renaissance 7-course lute, which differs mostly in size and in tuning from the lute I previously used in the Gallot piece. The tuning on the other lute is this very resonant, sort of dark D minor chord, which allows for this close harmony and these very beautiful dissonances within chords. This lute is tuned to something much closer to classical guitar, just the third is in a slightly different place, and it is about a third higher than a classical guitar. This instrument was very popular in Elizabethan England, and these pieces date from the first half of the 17th century, so it represents that change, that shift into Baroque music from Renaissance music, which, as you might have heard in the previous pieces, the voices are much more independent of each other, and in this music there's a much clearer sense of a tune with an accompaniment. Hope you enjoy. No lute recital can be complete without some of the music of John Dowland, who was, of course, the most famous lutenist, I suppose, ever. I will start with his Lachrymae, which is the piece that eventually gave inspiration to the incredibly famous song Flow My Tears. This piece was a bit of a greatest hit across Europe when he first wrote it. It was copied dozens and dozens of times across many manuscripts, all the way from here in England to even Poland. I will then continue with the Right Honourable Lady Clifton's Spirit, which is a galliard, which was a dedication to Lady Clifton. And if we can take anything biographical from this galliard, perhaps would be Lady Clifton's dance abilities, as this is a very syncopated galliard, which features a sort of slightly unusual moment for Renaissance music, where my bass line is actually in a counter rhythm to the top line. My bass line is in 3 whilst the top is in 2, which is sort of quite extraordinary for Renaissance music. Hope you enjoy. I will finish this recital with a suite in D major by Robert de Visee. Robert de Visee was a French composer of the court of Louis XIV. He was his chamber musician as well as his Theorbo and Baroque guitar teacher. So when Louis was in his private chambers getting ready to sleep, Robert de Visee was decorating the evening with his, I'm sure, amazing Theorbo playing. The Theorbo is mostly an accompanying instrument. I spend most of my time actually playing this instrument with orchestras and chamber music groups playing continuo or figured bass, which is a sort of semi-improvised type of accompaniment. But it does have a dedicated solo repertoire for it, coming mostly from Robert de Visee, as well as Girolamo Capsberger, who was the Italian representative of the Theorbo. This instrument is a cousin of the Renaissance lute, and when it was developed, it was in order to accommodate this new style of music that was emerging, which was opera, at the end of the 16th century. And they had come up with these new humanist, very expressive ways of singing, which was very much independent of other polyphonic lines, and it was very free and very expressive, and they needed an instrument that could accompany that. And they had the Renaissance lutes of the time. They didn't quite have enough of a bass register, and now the bass has this big prominence in this new style of music. So they came up with the Theorbo. They basically chopped off the old neck of the lute, and they added this very large extension, which accommodates these very low bass strings. And when accompanying singers, for instance, which is something I do a lot, you pluck out a good old bass note, and then the singers can just hover all over that. You sort of provide a pillow of harmony for them. So this is the suite in D major, comprising of a prelude, an allemande, courante, sarabande, and a jig, and I hope you enjoy. This is Caroline's Dream by Turlough O'Carolan, who was an Irish, blind Irish harpist, very, very famous. And this is a small arrangement for French lute by Ron McFarlane.